Building partners, suppliers of the building industry who sign up to the Fair Building Network are basically saying, I want to do well by doing good. I want to help make these projects happen. These suppliers sign a commitment form affirming their willingness to give discounts or donations for construction materials and services needed by Fair Building Project. The Fair Building database runs an automatic query matching projects with partners. Fair Building partners then receive an automated email with contact details of the social developers that require their products and services. Alternatively, they can log on anytime to search for new opportunities for their business. Any social developer can also take action by searching the Fair Building database for partners who have an interest in supplying to social projects and contact them proactively. Fair Building Network also conducts engagement forums to bring these key stakeholders in one room. Through engagement forums, the social developers are given the spotlight to present their construction projects before Fair Building industry partners. The Fair Building Network is a social marketplace facilitating collaboration to help improve the life of those less fortunate while creating business opportunities. To be part of the Fair Building Network, visit the website and click on Get Involved. It only takes a couple of minutes to build a better life for people less fortunate than us around the world.
Hello, good morning, everyone. And I
Good
guess
morning.
we can now start for our event today. Well, welcome, guys, to the Foundation of Advocacies, an introduction to non-for-profit organizations and their roles in the society. Thank you, guys, for being with us early this Thursday morning. Well, right now, we are 41 people here in the room. So thank you, everyone. So let's give ourselves a clap for ACT if you're with us right now and if you're excited to be part of this event. So my name is Pam De La Cruz, the project officer of Fair Building Network, and I will be your moderator for today's event. So again, thank you guys for spending your Thursday morning with us, and we hope you find this activity meaningful towards the end of our session. So just a few reminders before we proceed. Please keep your microphones on mute since we are this session is for the public, so we just want to keep everyone on mute. But if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, feel free to use the chat box below. But towards the end of our program, we will be having an open forum and we will address any questions during this part of the program. I also would like to advise everyone that this session is being recorded and it will be available for viewing on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. So please do follow Fair Building Network on our social media accounts to stay updated with our programs and activities. So just search for Fair Building Network. Well, I hope you guys now are all excited. And today we will hear from various organizations. I think nakita niyo naman na with our posters and our invitations sent via email and social media posts that we will be having three organizations representing different sectors and promoting different advocacies. But before we proceed, of course, right here with me is our Fair Buildings Administrative Manager, Ms. Ayn Rand Parel, to actually give us her welcome message. So, Ms. Ayn, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you so much, Pam, and hello to everyone. I think there's a mix of internal BCI staff here and to everyone who have also external to BCI Central and Fair Building, to everyone who have registered for the webinar. It's going to be a very short, casual presentation of what our partner NGOs really do. And I hope that after the session, everyone is able to ask themselves, how do I want to be involved in these advocacies and how do these organizations work, no? But I have prepared here a short welcome remark, so bear with me, and then we'll jump into the conversations. So again, thanks everyone for joining us today for the webinar. My name is Ayn Rand Parel. I'm the Fair Building Administrative Manager, and I also look after the operations for BCI Central. The Fair Building team and I are delighted to be your host as we explore the essential contributions of nonprofit organizations to our communities and beyond. So what are nonprofit organizations and what impact do they have in our society? Nonprofit organizations are the backbone of societal progress and development because they address issues that range from education and healthcare to social justice and environmental protection. Their mission-driven approach helps fill gaps that government programs and for-profit entities often cannot address because obviously, certain organizations, private, government, have different interests, but NGOs provide crucial services advocating for marginalized and underserved populations. Today's webinar is brought to you by the Fair Building Network, an organization dedicated to supporting and collaborating with NGOs to highlight and advance nonprofit construction projects. These projects are vital in providing safe, sustainable, and accessible spaces for various community needs, from schools and clinics to shelters and community centers. Through our work at the Fair Building Network, we aim to bring visibility and resources to these impactful initiatives, ensuring they have the support necessary to succeed. But of course, apart or outside of the construction industry, which the Fair Building Network is very much niched in. We think that it is a very important part of our mission to share the knowledge about how non-government organizations or non-profit organizations help our society. And because we have the platform, we have the right people, and we have the audience, we hope that this provides an opportunity for everyone to learn more about how these organizations work and hopefully plant a seed in everyone wanting to be more involved in these advocacies. So we will delve into the foundational aspects of nonprofit organizations, examining structures, functions, and critical roles they play in driving positive change. Our aim is to provide you with a comprehensive understanding of how nonprofits operate, the challenges they face, and the immense value they bring to society. Specifically, we will look at how construction and infrastructure projects can empower communities and enhance the efficacy of nonprofit work. So throughout this session, you will hear from experienced leaders in the nonprofit sector who will share their insights and experiences. We will also have opportunities for interactive discussion. So if you have any questions, just please feel free to give us a shout at the chat box, or you can send your questions later on as well. As we embark on this journey, I encourage you to think about the causes you are passionate about and how you can contribute to or support nonprofit initiatives, not just within Fair Building, not just within the organizations that you will be meeting today, but also in other NGOs within your own capacity. Whether you're looking to start a nonprofit or maybe volunteer or simply gain a deeper understanding of this very vital sector, I hope today's webinar is designed to equip you with the knowledge and inspiration to make a meaningful impact. Again, thanks for joining us, and let's begin our exploration of the foundational role that nonprofit organizations play in shaping a better world, with a special focus on the transformative power of our partners here, supported by Fair Building Network. Thank you, and over to you, Pam and Aya.
Thank you, Miss Ayn. Thank you for that wonderful welcome message. And na-mention nga ni Miss Ayn, that's our vision here in Fair Building Network and why we have Foundation of Advocacy. And that is to encourage also the participants that are part of this room right now on how you can be involved in different advocacies and, the organizations that are about to present their programs later on. And of course, in Fair Building Network, we have this vision to be the right platform on how these organizations work and how they can work with the communities. So again, thank you so much, Ms. Ayn, for that welcome message. And I guess we can now move on to the introduction of our panelists. I guess nakita nyo na sila ngayon today. But before we start, of course, I want to ask the audience, para lang may konti tayong engagement with the 40 participants that are part of this room. There's this question that I want to ask. And na-mention na rin siya ni Miss Aina actually kanina, what volunteer opportunities are you passionate about and hope to get involved in one day? So please share your answers in the chat box below. So again, the question is, what volunteer opportunities are you passionate about and hope to get involved in one day? So just to give an example, personally, I am passionate in teaching little children. And yun yung I want to have that volunteer opportunity that I can be part of, and I can teach street children or children here in the Philippines. And I look forward to spend more time with them. So that's my answer for that question. So hopefully kayo rin masagot niyo yun in the chat box. And the chat box is actually on the right corner of your screen. And who knows, maybe by the end of the session, we will give you a surprise gift. So hindi na siya surprise because I mentioned it. So I will give you a gift already after that. So ayan, just keep your answers coming. And now I guess it's time to actually introduce our speakers. And we are very honored today to be graced by the presence of representatives from different organizations who have exceptionally made an impact in the society, and particularly addressing issues on the needs of indigenous peoples and vulnerable sectors in our society. So I am honored to actually introduce each and every speakers that are here with us this morning. So first we have Miss Rainey. Miss Rainey is here, the Director for Programs and Partnerships of Cartwell Foundation. Rainey, actually, let me introduce Miss Rainey for you guys. Rainey is passionate about lifelong learning and delights in the joy of storytelling. She is thrilled when these come together in living out her faith in Christ. She first taught reading in English and Filipino to children of varying ages immediately after she graduated college. She then spent a year with the indigenous Tagbanwa communities of Palawan as a Jesuit volunteer and has since dedicated her service to Cartwell Foundation, which is a local nonprofit working towards culturally relevant education for indigenous peoples in the Philippines. Currently, she serves as the organization's director for programs and partnerships. She's part of the team behind the creation of AHA, or Awakening the Heart Through the Arts, book series featuring children's stories from all over the world. She also helps facilitate expressive art support groups with Magi's creative spaces, and also an instructor at the Arts for Healing Institute, or TAHI. Also, she is currently working towards completing her master's in non-formal education. Among her many successful involvements, her most exciting undertaking yet is being a mother to her young sons, Ulap, Sinag, and Alon, and being a wife to Paolo. Well, let's give it up for Miss Rainey. Miss Rainey, it's a great way for you to say hi, a quick hi to our participants.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Fair Building Network. Magandang umaga po sa lahat.
Thank you, Ms. Rainey. Next, we have Ms. Mai of Acted Philippines. Marimar Baticolon, or Mai for short, is the Zero Exclusion, Zero Carbon, Zero Poverty, or 3-0 coordinator at Acted Philippines. Prior to Acted, she was the Assistant Vice President of the SM Sustainability Office at SM Investments, working with the retail, mining, banking, property logistics, and leisure businesses of the group. She led sustainability initiatives in retail practices and employee training, and helped companies within the group integrate sustainability in their operations. Currently, she is also the program head for organizational sustainability at the Ateneo Institute of Sustainability, a board advisor at Sustainable PH, which is a nonprofit dedicated to raising sustainability leaders, and a member of Global Shapers Community by the World Economic Forum. Mai holds a master's degree in sustainability management and a bachelor's degree in management engineering from Ateneo de Manila University. So let's give it up for Mai. Mai, can you say hi to our participants?
Thanks, Pam. Hello, everyone. Always nice to be with a community of passionate, young and seasoned people.
Yes, that's true. All right, thank you, Mai. And last but not the least, we also have with us here Mr. Munir Hinay. Monsini A. Hinay, or Munir, is the co-founder, president, and CEO of Kids Who Farm Sustainable Food Systems Incorporated, a Zamboanga City-based nonprofit startup and advocacy initiative which aims to inspire future farmers by educating the youth on the importance and value of food and farming and providing them a platform to participate meaningfully in local food system solutions. He co-founded Kids Who Farm together with Raina, his 14-year-old daughter. Just to give an idea of Kids Who Farm, its vision is to help reverse the persistent trend of aging Filipino farmers by building the expertise of the youth in agriculture and creating green jobs incubation opportunities to engage them in the business of farming to secure food for the future. He is a recipient of the 2021 Peace Weaver Award for Environmental Security by the Interreligious Solidarity for Peace and the Zamboanga Basilan Integrated Development Alliance, or ZABIDA, and the 2022 Uplift Award for Agriculture by the Manila Bulletin. Munir graduated cum laude with a degree in business management from Father Saturnino Urios University in Butuan City. Great to see you, Munir, and impressive achievements over there. Can you say hi to our participants now?
Hello, buenos dias, assalamualaikum. Maraming salamat sa pag-imbita sa amin at looking forward to learning and sharing to everyone this morning. Thank
Of
you.
course, we're also looking forward to hear about your insights. So our three speakers right here. And also, we're excited to know ano yung mga plans ng mga organizations and how you can encourage our passionate volunteers that are part of this room. So I guess in this discussion, we will be delving into three main topics that will revolve around the importance of advocacy programs and the roles of nonprofit organizations in the country. So for this discussion, it will be just a simple conversation with them. Each speaker will be given at least 5 minutes to discuss about their views and programs for each question. So we will have three main points, and I'm sure all of you are excited to hear what Kids Who Farm, Cartwheel, and Acted will have to say in these topics. So I guess we can now start. Are all the speakers ready now to actually share their insights? I guess they're now ready. Yes, okay. And before pala we start, thank you for those who participate in our questions earlier. Later, we will choose kung sino yung lucky winner for that question. Okay, now we can start with our first topic. Well, according to the Philippine Statistic Authority, 2022 2022.4 of the population of the Philippines, or about 25.24 million people, live under the poverty line here in the country. This is the data from 2023, and considering our current situation in the country, the pandemic bloated these numbers. In order to supplement the efforts of the government in eradicating poverty, several NGOs have taken different initiatives, and along with us are the three NGOs. And now for our first topic, let us delve with the organization's name and its mission and vision for a better community. So I want the three speakers here to discuss the role and purpose of the NGOs that they are part with here in our country. So let us start off with Ms. Rainey of Cartwheel Foundation. Take it away, Ms. Rainey.
Muli, maraming salamat, Pam, and good morning muli sa lahat. I am very honored, and it is my deep, deep joy to represent Cartwheel Foundation and share it with the audience here today. So Cartwheel Foundation is a local nonprofit, and at our heart is Indigenous people's education. We were founded in 1999, and this would be our 25th year, founding year already. I'm not sure if we're sharing the screen na. Kita naman na ba? All right. Sorry, I can't see it from where I am. Hold on. Yun. Okay. Sige. So people ask why Cartwheel? We began from the very personal from a very personal journey of our founder, no? Parang she found herself in Bukidnon. She worked with the Talaandig community of the Mirayon region there in 1999, and then all is history from there, no? So parang um divine, or parang may divine intervention there, and just our surviving all these years has been such a grace, no? um I'm sorry, I cannot see our slides, but go on. If you can share to see lang the reality of IPs now. Very recently, si World Bank went through a study to look into the indigenous peoples in our country, no? Kasi mahalaga na may data sila. Marami sa kanila, a third of them are in Luzon, and then most of them are in Mindanao, tapos onti lang sa Visayas. I'm sorry, I cannot really see our slides, but oh well. Anyway, bakit sila mahalaga? Because they are still Filipinos like us, no? And they represent so much of our cultural diversity. Sobra. We can learn so much from them in the way that they can learn from us. And at Cartwheel, part of our thrust is really that give and take dynamic, no? So we never ever claim that we're doing all the teaching and they're doing all the learning, but we learn from each other. So it's a beautiful give and take dynamic in learning and teaching, and just continuing to thrive as an entire Filipino community together, no? So I think that's from us, and I'll try to fix my screen in a while just so I'm guided. I'm so sorry, but good morning again, and thank you to everyone.
That's okay, Miss Rainy. Actually, it's a very insightful takeaway from Cartwheel, and knowing your vision and mission. It's actually hopefully everyone will be interested in being involved with um indigenous peoples, diba, in the country. So thank you, Miss Rainy, for that. Now let's move on to Miss Mai of Acted Philippines. Miss Mai.
Thanks, Pam. You can hear me clearly naman, no? Okay. So, hello again, everyone. So, with Acted, so earlier Rainy mentioned they are a local NGO, no? With Acted, we are an international NGO. We are a 30-year-old NGO, no? With what we call a triple mandate: humanitarian, environment, and development. We actually started in through a crisis, no? In Afghanistan, way back in 1993. So it was founded by a couple. Recognizing, no, there's a lot of there's big crisis happening, and that's what started the humanitarian work by Acted. Pero since then, from just relief and recovery of crisis affected people, we recognize na our challenges are more interconnected. So kanina sa group chat may mga nakikita akong mga passionate about the SDGs. So we recognize the interconnectedness of the issues. So that's why the vision of Acted is actually what we call a 3-0 world. So a world with zero exclusion, zero carbon, and zero poverty. So, and in the Philippines, we launched in 2012, brought about by the Typhoon Pablo. So, siguro sa audience, hindi ko alam sino pang nakakaalala nito, no? So, wag na tayo mag-reveal ng age. Pero essentially, it was at that time, the Philippines is really one of the most vulnerable when it comes to environmental risks, no? Lalo na sa pag mga bagyo, but the reality is we are not the biggest contributors to these big issues like climate change. So that it started there, but since then, no, we've had several programs which we adopt, no, are what we call really a needs-based approach. Depende sa pangangailangan ng community kung nasaan kami, doon din kami pumapasok. So currently, we are mostly present in Mindanao, in the Bangsamoro region, in Caraga. And we have what we call the 3-0 house here in Manila. But essentially, our vision is very big. We work with anybody who believes in the 3-0 objective. And our mission is to intervene wherever we are relevant. We believe in what we call, no, we think global, but we act local. So we have very strong partnerships with local actors, including actually Fair Building Networks. No, so it was through a partnership with Fair Building Network that we're able to create actions that contribute to the 3-0 objective. So I think that yun muna for this topic. So I can share a bit more later on. But essentially, just remember the 3 zeros that's our vision, and our work is always revolving around this 3-0.
Thank you, Miss Ma. It's actually, when I heard about the vision of ACT Pacifico, yes, SDG is right on track. And also, I love what you said, yung we are global, but we act local. So it's a good thing na parang yun ang path ni ACTed today. So right now, of course, let's hear from Mr. Munir from Kids Who Farm, another Mindanao-based NGO.
Hello, yeah, good morning again. Thank you. So Kids Who Farms advocacy is really about building the next generation of future farmers. So next slide, please. And we recognize that when you talk about food or the environment in general, parang malaki yung gap, no? So tingin namin, it's not just about the knowledge on agriculture and sustainability on environment, but we wanted to help build or cultivate food citizens. And so food citizenship is very important because we want to see a future where young people have empathy towards food. They take responsibility in the food that they eat. The next slide, please. And at the same time, they know they actively participate in the food system. Meaning to say they're not just consumers, but also people who are aware of the impacts of their food choices on the planet, the people, and the economy. So next slide, please. So you know very well Greta Thunberg, right? So she is one of those pioneers, no, in the movement for climate action. And we take inspiration by her words, no, na I have learned that you are never too small to make a difference. In the same manner, next slide, please. Kids Who Farm is actually an idea of a kid. So our founder, my daughter, Raina, who in 2019, decided to help her school garden and in a small project, no, sa eskwelahan nila. And then sabi niya tulungan daw niya yung school garden. So we were so inspired, no? So we realized that if a kid can actually propose a solution to the community, how much more yung mga adults, no? So we can do better, we should do better. And next slide, please. Our goal is really to provide yeah, this is a video of Raina just for you to see her. I don't know if it can play. Ayan, pala. But this is Raina in 2019. So we were doing climate action in our partner universities here in Zamboanga, but we wanted to provide a platform for the meaningful participation of the youth. Pag-usapan natin yung food system kasi malaki yung impact ng food system doon sa ating environment and climate. And in fact, according to experts, 30% of global greenhouse gas emissions come from the food system. So next slide, please. And that initiative of Raina was actually recognized by DepEd in a publication called Stories of Children Written by Children. All these little things that's being done, if it's done collectively with young people, with everyone involved, we can create a change or we can create impact. Next slide, please. So these are our team. So from a father and daughter tandem, we evolved into a formal nonprofit. With these young leaders in Zamboanga who actively participated in co-founding Kids Who Farm as a nonprofit startup. And all of them are still here, very actively participating in the work that we do. And of course, Raina is our founder. She's 14 years old now. Next slide, please. Over the years, we partnered with a number of organizations, not just here in our city, but in other areas as well, outside Zamboanga. And we were very honored and privileged to amplify the advocacies with their support. Next slide, please. So last slide, this is about our mission is to build a sustainable food system for everyone, because this is not just for me, for us, but what we're doing is for our kids. So we wanted to see a future where kids are also experiencing the food security, nutrition security, and an environment that really fosters sustainability. And how to do that? Let's start off with food. So yan po, yung aming advocacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Munir, for actually introducing Kids Who Farm and, food system as well, sustainable food system, and, how, ano yung impact niya with climate change. It's very refreshing to have NGOs like Kids Who Farm. And also, thank you for all the three NGOs to share their vision, their advocacy, and, the mission of each and every organizations that are here. So, I guess we have now acknowledged yung mga vital role ng mga NGOs na to in improving the welfare of the different Filipino communities, varying from indigenous peoples to local communities, and also for, giving significant importance to our food systems here in the Philippines also. But now let us hear again from our guest speakers, starting off from Miss Rainy, on how your organizations address yung mga issues in our country, specifically with your organization. So can you give us insights on how your advocacy play in this matter? So Miss Rainy, you can start.
Thank you again. Ayan, I see my screen now. Salamat. Just to share that the issues, no, parang I think most of societal issues naman are never just black and white. Mahalagang makilala natin na ano talaga siya, no, masalimuot. They're very complex, no. There's not one size fits all solution, walang cookie cutter solution. So I think it's best that we start acknowledging that. So at Cartwheel, ang what we want to address nga is this lack of access or inability to access culturally relevant education for indigenous learners, no, for most of them in the Philippines. And if we look at this, this is like a problem tree. So it seeks to answer why, no, bakit nga ba walang access? Bakit hindi naaabot? So makikita natin talagang komplikado siya. It's more complex than we think, no? So this is just a reminder for us not to dismiss these problems as madali lang naman. Pero ang encouraging dun ay meron tayong magagawa. So I think that's also a good place to start from there. Next slide, please. Through the years, thank you. This is kind of our approach. This is what this is the approach that we want to focus on, no? And what we also want to share with our fellow advocates for IPs and those who care about our Filipino people in general, no. So our approach or our development pillars are three main things. One is that it's culture sensitive, may pagkilala sa kultura, kasi malaking bahagi 'yon ng pagkakakilanlan ng tao, 'di ba? Na sana hindi nila kinahihiya yun at sana pinagmamalaki rin nila. So we're big and intentional on the safeguarding of culture and really integrating it into most all our approaches, no, especially with education. Secondly, we're also focusing on their rights. So rights-based, parang ang pinaglalaban natin dito ay karapat dapat tong sa inyo, kasi karapatan naman ng bawat isa ang dekalidad na edukasyon. So this is for them, and if they are unable to get it, then we try to find ways and kind of see workarounds and address the gaps para nga maparating pa rin sa kanila ang makabuluhang edukasyon. And then lastly, we are also resilience focused. We're big and intentional on safeguarding the well-being of our partners, no, and of each other. So that would mean the psychosocial and mental well-being of our teachers, of our learners, of our community members, but also yun nga, no, I was sharing earlier, also the environmental well-being, because it's a huge part of just how we thrive as a people, no. So in a nutshell, parang these are three Ks: kultura, culture, karapatan, rights, and then katatagan, which is resilience. So those are our three areas of focus, which translate into the programs that we have. So next slide, please. excited rin ako makita na sa chat may sumagot no na parang working with children, working with IPs. So and I think we're all in this together, no, and there are many different ways to contribute to the work. So our flagship program and the main program that we began running in 1999, we continue to run with partner organizations, is our education and child development program. In a nutshell, it's like your pre-K or your daycare program, but very specific for IPs. And our aim here is to create a safe learning environment that safeguards the development of indigenous children through multi-stakeholder collaboration. So we'd never claim that we do this on our own. Mahalaga yung partnerships, mahalaga yung pakikipagtulungan sa magulang, sa gobyerno, sa iba't ibang mga organisasyon, no, para lang patuloy na mamunga yung programa, no. So it's mainly making them prepared and paving the way for them to continue accessing hopefully education opportunities, no. And mahalagang bahagi nito yung pagkakakilala nila sa sarili nila bilang katutubo, because again, it's a huge part of their identity and we want to build on that as a strength, not as something to be ashamed of, not as something to turn their backs on, no, but to build on it as a strength, because there's so much there that we can build on. And kami, tayo, whether we're indigenous peoples or not, no, we'll see that there is so much to learn from there. So that's our flagship program. But related to it now, next slide, please, is a project under this program, which is called Culture Links. It's a mouthful, meaning leveraging indigenous niches through knowledge sharing and storytelling. Mainly, it's collecting stories from the elders, from community members. Thank you. And then sharing it in book form, sharing it back to the community. So we help them collect these stories, harvest these stories, write it out, and then illustrate it, and then they're able to use it in their classrooms. Some even are able to use it as proof that they own their lands, proof against other big corporations that are trying to lay claim over their lands, and they're saying, well, we have much proof that this is ours. So we're working with the Tagbanwa of Culion, Palawan. We've worked with the Sama Bajau of Zamboanga, and also the Talaandig of Mira and Bukidnon on this. And we hope to multiply that, no, and to keep on working with many other communities there. And these are the areas where we would very gladly appreciate help also from volunteers. Thank you. I hope I didn't go over time.
That's okay, Ms. Rainey. Thank you so much for that very insightful message on regarding how CART will really play a lot in the society. And yun nga, as I mentioned kanina na parang the issues that we're facing, especially social issues, are very complex. Pero I love what you say, na meron at meron tayong magagawa. Especially right now, of course, CARTWIL is focusing with indigenous peoples, diba? And your development programs revolve around culture, education, rights, and even resilience. So it's nice that you as an organization, you're giving voice to the indigenous children, and finding and strengthening their cultural identity. So thank you, Ms. Rainey, for sharing CARTWIL's advocacy. And now, of course, from Acted Philippines, Ms. Mai, take it away.
Thank you, Pam. Sige, we can go to the next slide. I mentioned that we have a very big dream and big vision, but we only have 5 minutes to share. So for this one, I want to highlight one of the ways we try to realize this vision is through what we call the 3-0 house. So it's actually a platform, a physical hub that aims to facilitate local partnerships, innovations, and solutions that really advance the 3.0 world. So at Acted, our core strength is really building the organizational capacity of local organizations. So what does that mean? Maybe, for example, in our audience now, you have organizations you set up because you are passionate about something. But maybe you don't have the specific resources to actually take action. So maybe you need help in doing proposals. Maybe you need help in properly doing your bookkeeping. Maybe you need help in marketing, etc. Or maybe you need help in establishing how you really run your organization. So Acted across most of its projects, is really working towards building the local capability of actors here, because you are the ones who will really bring forth this vision. So the 3-0 House is actually a space, but beyond the space, it's a community where we hold conversations to connect different organizations with each other. So we are not just a network of NGOs. We are actually bridging, for example, companies to civil society organizations, to the youth, to government actors. Kasi nga, sabi nga ni Rainy kanina, the issues are very complex. And we have to recognize na yun talaga yung challenge. And the way to really solve our issues today is not by one organization alone, but by collaboration, strategic collaborations. So we also unleash the capability through different trainings that we do at the house. So for example, we've done what we call breakfast forums, talking about the challenge of plastic waste. How do we actually engage the youth, and for example, even helping individual professionals in companies on how do they advance sustainability in their own organizations, to more technical trainings. So for example, as trainings on project management, systems thinking, so anything that will help organizations advance their mission. We work towards that. And lastly, we also engage in what we call innovating projects and ideas. So in the past, we've given micro grants to help solutions come to life. So for example, you have a very, very exciting idea that you think will change the world or your community. But of course, capital is always a challenge. And so we've done those kinds of activities as well. But of course, as an NGO, we always recognize that even as NGOs, our activities are also contingent on funding. So with that, with the 3-0 House, those are the kinds of activities that we do. In the greater scheme of Acted, where I mentioned some of the projects in Mindanao, and particularly in Barm and Caraga region, maybe I can share a bit of snapshot also for that. In the Bangsamoro region, I said we are a needs-based, we do a needs-based approach in everything that we do in terms of intervention. So the Bangsamoro region, the stakeholders in the area, we still have what we call peace building activities, helping peace builders actually maintain the stability in the communities, and at the same time providing inclusive economic opportunities to the different organizations that we support. So connected to food, that Munir was mentioning earlier, we support what we call cooperatives in that region, particularly women-led cooperatives, and provided them with technical trainings. So those are among the activities we have in Barm. In Caraga region, it was a post-typhoon response, wherein after the typhoon, the households essentially nasira yung mga toilets nila, syempre yung sanitation and hygiene challenge. So through our donors, we were able to set up again what we call wash facilities. And shelter kits, we provided shelter kits to the communities. So that way, we aimed at different barangays na nagkaroon ng what we call zero open defecation na certification. Kasi syempre it will affect their health. So you see here, they're very interconnected yung mga issues that we try to address. But all things boil to capacitating the local organizations through partnerships. So those are what we do. There are many more stuff that we try to do, but hopefully that gives a snapshot for everybody on how our advocacy play in the communities where we are at.
I actually love how the programs naman ni Acted is actually focused, especially the 3-0 House is focused on collaborating and assisting in building local capabilities through partnerships. I love what you said that kasi building conversations and also strategic, sabi mo kanina, strategic collaborations between organizations and private sectors. That's actually what makes, yung mga social issues natin to be addressed here in the Philippines. And, it's also the vision of fair building, building a fair future, and we can only be done through strategic partnerships and collaboration. So I love what you said about that, Mai, and looking forward on, different programs ni acted and for in the next few months and years. So now let's move on with Kids Who Farm. So, Munir?
Yeah, thank you so much. Next slide, please. Ayan. So I guess ang malaking hamon natin is that in the future, which is hindi malayo, according to science, we are barely 25 years before we run out of food if we don't transform our food system. But the reality on the ground is that our food production areas are not increasing in size. In fact, it's decreasing and are threatened by rapid urbanization, land degradation, and climate change. So what is the challenge now? So we should, and as early as now, establish the profitability of small-scale sustainable farming to protect our food production areas and encourage more young people in agriculture. So next slide, please. So that's why we call it micro farming. So it's not just a garden, it's a micro farm. When you talk of a garden kasi parang pwedeng mamatay, pwedeng mabuhay. Micro farming is more sustainable because we wanted to focus more on not just production systems, but also how to make it profitable so that yung mga kabataan natin pag nakita na there's a career in agriculture, even if you have a small space, it's really something that we should encourage more. And addressing our food system, really starting at building the sustainability principles. No? Kaya micro farming. So next slide, please. Yeah. So we do micro farms. No? Yung trabaho namin. So our advocacy is to really build community micro farms. These are community food production sources, no, and integrating all of the technologies that we know in urban farming and sustainable food production, while also training communities, especially the youth, in urban farming technology. So we do provide training programs on different tech pagdating sa farming. So you can do soilless, hydroponics. We do teach about container gardening, composting. We do have a savings program. We teach communities how to save because it's not enough to learn how to grow. You also need to learn how to sell. And when you're earning, you need to learn how to save and invest. So in a nutshell, ganun po yung ginagawa namin. So next slide. We are not doing this alone. We are doing this a lot of partners, and our partners also include the schools. No? The school system, meaning to say DepEd. No? So we partner with DepEd to improve the Gulayan sa Paaralan program. We call it School Microfarm. Of course, with the support of the Department of Agriculture. If you didn't know, may bagong program ng DA called National Urban and Peri-Urban Agriculture Program, where they provide support, logistics, and training to urban farms, urban communities. Next slide, please. And of course, the human capital. So yung human resource is very important. As a volunteering organization, we have this program we call Garden Attack. That's our volunteering program. And our volunteers are called garden attackers. So we could have not done all these micro farms without all these volunteers who attack the gardens. And they spend their time to indulge themselves in activities sa community, train, transfer technology, and overall monitor the progress of the micro farms that we have established. So overall, we have 100 plus volunteers, not just here in Zamboanga, but in other places such as Cagayan de Oro. We have volunteers in Davao. We have in Cebu, and hopefully we can build a volunteer group in Manila as well when our project there will be realized. No? And so next slide, please. So these are the areas where we have projects. No? So if you can see, mostly in Mindanao. So we have Cagayan de Oro, Bukidnon, Davao City, Sarangani, Zamboanga Peninsula in general, and in the Barm area in Tawi-Tawi and Isabela. So hopefully we're going to do another project in Cebu and Manila as well. Ayan. So next slide, please. So who are the communities that we have worked with? So as a youth-led organization, hindi lang naman youth yung aming audience, no? Marami. So we have also the enterprising women in Barangay Tulungatong, in Zamboanga City, to the IP youth in Miarayon, in Talakag, Bukidnon, where we work with partners to help establish community microfarms. Next slide, please. The future of farming can be as high-tech as this, no? You can do farming as this, but it can be low-tech as this, no? Next slide, please. Pwedeng simple garden. Pwedeng ang farming natin, next slide, can be in a container, like what you're seeing is a technology we're promoting. Next slide. It's called the Gardenator. You can do compact farming in a container. Next slide. Yan. So next slide, please. And then and last slide. At the end of the day, whatever the tech that we are trying to promote for our technology transfer, it boils down to how we inspire young people. Because technology is just part of it, and then the other one is involving volunteers, the human resource in this whole advocacy. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sir Veneer, for introducing kids who farm and micro farming and gardenators. I love what you said with the future of farming and actually I remember in the past na Sir Veneer actually explained to me regarding yung engaging in food security on your own person in your own houses. And of course right now our participants here, if you're very interested in food systems and food security systems, Kids Who Farm is here to help you guys and volunteer with them. Kasi nga, diba, nakita, what Sir Munir mentioned earlier is that through their organization, they see the importance of indulging yung mga volunteers in the communities and livelihoods. And I love how you encourage everyone and the volunteers to be involved in livelihoods and in the communities through micro farming. So thank you for that. Well, as mentioned earlier, many of our attendees right now are college students, professors, youth representatives, and from different organizations. And also our organizations are also from Luzon to obviously from Zamboanga or from Mindanao. I also want to know from the participants kung saan kayo nakalocate. So where are you right now in the Philippines? So you may use the chat box to let us know, and also for the speakers to know where are you located and how we can, hindi naman hindrance ang locations in being a volunteer and how you be able to make a difference in your life. So just use the chat box and let us know saan kayo nakalocate. I think I remember some of our participants right now are from the Mindanao area also, and from Visayas, and some are from Luzon. So let us know there. So we also acknowledge how important it is to spread awareness about the challenges currently being faced by all of us here in the Philippines. And if you're in a position to help, of course, we hope you to take the extra mile to do so. So moving on to the last portion of our discussion. So this is our last question. Let us hear again from our partner organizations as the three organizations to discuss opportunities on how you, our audience, the participants, can help in their own little ways as possible. So may I call on Ms. Rainey of Cartwheel Foundation?
Thank you, Pam. Masayang makita kung saan galing yung mga participants, no? So thank you for asking that question. Hello sa lahat. Nakakakilig lang malaman na lahat tayo sama-sama sa isang Zoom room ngayon kahit iba-ibang pinanggagalingan, no? I think you're making time to listen in and be here with us is already a step towards what Pam has been saying, no, parang how to address, how to take action. I think your being here and listening and us learning from each other in this space is already one step forward. So again, thank you to FBN for initiating this. Next slide, please. Well, there are many ways talaga, no, to help out, but maybe to just kind of break it down into 3 8s. What we say, you can donate funds. Orgs are always in need of funds. So that's always welcome, but there's always also in-kind donation. So for our cause, we welcome school supplies, other relevant education materials. There's also the initiate, no? I personally am very much inspired by the youth who are here, and many others out there, no, those who call themselves creatives, because given tech and even in-person interactions, no, there are so many inspiring ways to kind of just um spread the word and show support. So let us know, reach out if you have like a creative idea as to how to help out, or in what way, given your own strengths, no, and in your own context. And the last one is also to advocate, to help us amplify um our mission, our call to action, our cause. Again, as mentioned, no, it's good that you start by learning first. And that's just to simplify things. And I think I wanted to end with this last slide. Sorry, our last slide, what we wanted to say is that it's important to look and to listen, and then to take action. And that's something I've been learning personally, no, yung kahalagahan ng pagtingin at pakikinig. Because again, there are so many issues out there, and we have 1,001 solutions in mind. But it's most important to take that step of really looking at what's happening on the ground, and listening to the people who are there, being in solidarity with them. And if it means changing our version of the solution, then that's what we do. Kasi we may have all the good intentions, pero kung hindi siya akma, or hindi siya aligned sa ninanais rin ng komunidad, or sa nakikita nating mas ikabubuti ng mas marami, hindi rin siya tatagal. No? Siguro as someone in the sustainability space would also say, no, just how important this is. No, we can put in all the effort, but it's important to really look and listen. In the indigenous about yung FPIC na tinatawag, no, so it's free, prior, and informed consent. So mahalagang maitanong natin yung mga tao. Sorry, I think I'm breaking away. Mahalagang maitanong natin sila kung ano rin talaga yung vision nila para sa sarili nilang mga komunidad, para sa kanilang sarili, para sa mga kabataan. At we build it from there. We build it from there. Kasi at the end of the day, I think it's really all about collaboration and us thriving together. So thank you once again very, very much.
Thank you, Ms. Rainey, for that point. I love what you said na look, listen, and take action. Yun nga, I think with Cartwheel, it's really, you pointed out na you really have to be exposed about on the ground, to be on the community, to know what they need. Kasi the NGOs, of course, being exposed with the NGOs in the network of Fair Building Network, it's really more on empowering the communities that they're supporting and that they're advocating, and being the voice to them. Diba? So hopefully those who are interested in the cause of building up the rights of our indigenous peoples here in the Philippines, you can be part of Cartwheel Foundation. Diba sinabi ni Ms. Rainey, you can donate, you can initiate, and you can advocate with Cartwheel Foundation. So thank you, Ms. Rainey, for that point. And well, before moving on with moving to Acted Philippines, I also just want to share na ako rin personally, I've been involved in volunteering and charity work since I was still in my college era, in college years, in high school years. So up until now that I'm part of the Fair Building Network, and I have to say it's really been a very fulfilling and enlightening experience to be able to do volunteering with teaching the children, being exposed to all the different communities here in the metro. And I would somehow describe it as a win-win situation wherein we can be a blessing to those communities through our assistance, but at the same time, they also have a significant impact in us to know their rights, and to know their stories as well. So through volunteering, I also encourage all the participants. And for those who are active participants here in the Zoom room, I know you can understand that wherever respective fields we are or professions, we have that unique opportunity and we have that unique action to make a meaningful difference in someone's life. So I hope everyone would agree with me with that. So, and now let us go on with Miss Mai on Acted Philippines. So how can you encourage our participants?
Thanks. Actually, by virtue na now, no, we have participants dialing in this Zoom. I think there's no convincing that need to happen. But maybe I could share some 3 tips, no, on maybe how you can be part of projects more meaningfully. So maybe if you are someone who are still looking for a way, no, to volunteer or be part of such missions of NGOs. The first one is to look up the organizations that match your interests. So, kasi marami tayong problema sa Pilipinas and sa mundo, no? So, the first step is actually to look at your strengths. What is your interest? So, for me, for example, my passion is really education as well. So, as I started volunteering also in the past, yun yung mga hinahanap ko. So, halimbawa, if you are into youth leadership or supporting persons with disabilities, at Acted, we actually have that kind of project wherein our activities are around providing leadership training for young leaders, no, who are also passionate about zero exclusion. For halimbawa, if your passion naman is also in construction, since we're this is by Fair Building Networks event, no, so marami tayong baka may mga upcoming engineers dito, architects, look at organizations who could help you, no, bring that purpose into what you do. So just to highlight the partnership, for example, that we had with Fair Building Network, through them actually our Acted project, because we are into constructing facilities nga, we were able to source, no, more sustainable bricks, no, through the connections we made with Fair Building Network. So ganun din sa inyo, no, if yun yung area na field nyo, feeling nyo doon kayo doon yung strength nyo, may mga organizations na pwede kayong mahanap. If you're into marketing, into writing, so there's always a place for you. You just have to find them. The second is to volunteer in small ways. So you don't have to dedicate your full let's say full week to be part of NGOs. Many of them just need specific time, specific tasks. Pwedeng dun kayo magsimula. If you are also already now part of the NGO, try to make it easier for people to volunteer with your organization. For example, with us at the 30 House, we welcome anyone who wants to volunteer. What we usually do is we actually ask what their strengths are, what they want to do, how did they want to contribute, and how many hours they can contribute. And then from there, we do things together. So there's a lot of, sabi nga ni Pam kanina, it's a win-win for both the volunteer and the NGO. So that's the second point, volunteer in small ways. And the third one is it's not always volunteer. You can try to find these kinds of jobs, no? So some of you are college students now, maybe you don't know where to go yet. Maybe you're not yet considering if NGOs are a good career path for you. So you can take it from me. I came from the private sector, and then I eventually moved on to nonprofit and academe. So there's different kinds of fulfillment that you also get from these kinds of careers. So think of NGOs as also a career path for you. That can help you parang fill your hearts also, no. At the same time, if you're an NGO naman, I think a good way for you to encourage more people to be in the space is to keep talking about it. So like these kinds of events, no, we need more people coming into this sector. And what I think has been useful is to really make it easy for the next generation to understand your vision. People are always compelled to be part of something bigger or someone that inspires them. Same with my own career path, where I eventually got to really expose myself, no, in higher costs beyond just getting a well-paying job, for example. So but of course we have to recognize, no, na iba-iba rin yung needs natin. So syempre, I know from our audience, iba-iba rin yung pinagagalingan natin, but I think the fact that you are here, maybe it's a sign, maybe it's something that's telling you na maybe you're already looking for ways to be part of something bigger. So the first step is to use your search bar or connect with us. So we are really grateful for these kinds of opportunities no, that we can share our advocacy. Kasi very active ng the NGO space in the Philippines. So hopefully, no, all of you here can take part in small ways. So just for context, for example, me, even if I am also with an NGO, I actually started my own NGOs also together with other people no who had spare time and we want to do something. So that was Sustainable PH that was mentioned earlier by Pam, and I'm also part of the Global Shapers community, which I do on a volunteer basis also. So there are many ways really that you can do. You just have to start and match them with your interests. So with that, I also end with no anything that we do no we believe that it always has to lead towards our big vision of 3-0, zero exclusion, zero carbon, and zero poverty. So looking forward on what's next in terms of really collaborating with some of you in the future.
I love how you end that speech of leading toward the bigger version, a bigger vision, diba? And I love what you said na and yeah, it's an encouragement to everyone here na parang look up on an NGO that meet up your interests, diba? And volunteer in small ways and be part of an NGO or work for an NGO. And for those who are students or partner na mention na rin kanina ni Mai na, of course, we are all young people here and college students. If you're unable to donate financially, we encourage you actually to also use your social media accounts to spread awareness. You can search, I mentioned in my you can search for their organization online and share whatever the initiatives and the programs that they have and spread awareness about the challenges faced by our fellow Filipinos. A few clicks on our phones, on our computers, it can make a very significant difference. So you may not be able to provide direct help, but your post might inspire a friend to donate or offer assistance. So that's a small take that we have with our NGOs right now in the room. So now let's move on to our last speech of Munir from Kids Who Farm.
Yeah, and so yeah, to also share our call. So again, sabi nga na aming founder, talk is cheap. So we should talk less and act more. So having been inspired by her action, I guess tayo din. We should do our own. Hindi naman kailangan malaki. Of course, great things start from small beginning. So ayan, so next slide please. And once you know, kasi hindi nga enough na alam mo na. Pag alam mo, ibahagi mo. So you share the knowledge that you learn to your family, to your friends, no? Having, for example, this venue now, ang daming mga information kayong natutunan for sure. And start sharing it, no? By sharing whatever post na makita nyo sa social media from these organizations, you can share it. And that's one way of amplifying the advocacy. Next slide. And aside from sharing it, much better if you engage the community. Of course, this slide has a video, no? Pero what we're trying to show is that you can participate in a whole lot of things, no, na pwede niyong gawin. Depende sa interest ninyo. So you can start off with your community organization, your church organization, your school organization, kahit yung purok organization. Basta nandun ka sa komunidad, no? Yung physical presence mo ay importante din. Hindi lang naman nababayaran ng pera lahat, no? So, yung time, yung skill, all of that matter. Ayan, so next slide. So, again, another slide. So, this is actually a video or project in Bukidnon. Next slide. And how we do it in Kids Who Farm is to inspire our kids, no? So sa tingin nga namin, no, ako as a parent, no, mga parents natin, we always teach our kids how to finish the food on the plate, to eat healthy food, but we seldom teach our kids how to grow the food. And kasi we always think naman na nandyan lang yan sa palengke and we can always buy the food. And I guess yun ang missing link, yun ang gap na nakikita namin na hindi natin masyadong na-appreciate yung value ng food and the efforts of our farmers kasi hindi natin siya na-experience. No? Wala tayong experiential learning. And then And hopefully by doing micro farming, the advocacies that we're doing, we can also empower not just the kids but the parents as well, so that they can teach. Kasi 'di ba, alam naman natin the first school is the home. So yan. So parang turuan din natin yung mga nanay at tatay na magtanim para di matutunan din ng mga anak nila yon. So ma-inspire din sila. Katulad ko, na-inspire ako sa anak ko. I hope other parents also will be inspired, or we can inspire our kids as well. So next slide, please. Yeah, next slide. So what we're doing in Kids Who Farm is to do physical stuff, to inspiring people, bringing people together through our volunteer activities, kung nandito ka sa Zamboanga or in the places that we work with. Pero kahit na malayo tayo sa isa't isa, ganito na lang. After this learning session, you start growing your own food. You start with a single pot. No? Kuha kayo ng repurposed bottle, whatever. Tamnan nyo ng alugbati, ng kamote tops, and you start from there. And nakikita nyo sa mga actions namin, nakaganito kami. Kasi that's a pot. No? So start with a single pot. Yun lang naman, yun lang hiling ko after this learning session. Start growing your food. And sa tingin namin, by doing that, ang dami yung learnings for sure. Yan, nakatulad ng nangyari din sa amin. So, and next slide. And I guess the last slide siguro na to. And yeah, if you want to know more, you want to participate, all the stuff na gusto nyo malaman sa amin, nasa socials naman kami. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Viber, we have a WhatsApp group, we are on TikTok, we have a new Telegram group. Lahat ng yan ay very accessible, nasa fingertips nyo lang. And hopefully this Nutrition Month, very timely nga yung food na pag-uusapan. Nutrition Month, hindi lang sa July yan nangyayari. Dapat nutrition a month all year round. And how do you promote nutrition? You start growing your own food. And thank you so much for this opportunity, FBN, and all the partners nandito, May and Rainy, at sa inyong lahat. And hopefully together we can help build a food secure future for everyone. Again, thank you.
Thank you, Sir Manir. I love what you said. Na yun, at the end of the session, yun ang lang gusto namin ni Sir Manir is that for all the participants to let us grow our own food, diba? And give importance sa food because it's a basic necessity for each and every one of us. And I love how Kids Who Farm, ever since the start of this session, is already telling us there are a lot of ways, a lot of activities and opportunities to actually be part of the community. And it's through micro farming and going back to the community. Sabi na, di ba kanina from the start is that a great things start from small beginnings. And he enlisted a lot of things that we can do. So thank you so much for that, Sir Munir. All right, it has actually been amazing to hear from all of these organizations. And personally, my heart is so full of hope knowing that organizations like Cartwheel, Acted, and Kids Who Farm exist in this time and age. And I also hope the participants learned a lot from their points. So I want to know if you really learned a lot, please give us a heart react or like react if you agree. And also you can share with us your key takeaways on our chat box. So use our chat box, feel free to message and send ano yung mga natutunan nyo from Grainy, from Munir, from Mai, and we would be happy to know that you have learned something from what they have presented. So just use that. I'd like to believe I'm seeing a lot of hearts and react. So thank you so much for that. Also, now before we proceed, as mentioned earlier, we'll be having an open forum in a while. But we have promised you on our announcement ever since in our social media postings that the first 5 attendees will be receiving tokens from Fair Building Network. So we're welcoming and congratulating yung early birds, yung tinatawag namin, early birds in this session. So congratulations to makinig kayo ng maigi participants from Sir Mike Chester Pineda, Randy Rivera, Wendell Estaco, Jerry May, and Katharina Hazel. So these are the 5 early birds of the Foundation of Advocacy's webinar. And congratulations. Thank you for being with us in this session. So again, Mike Chester Pineda, Randy Rivera, Wendell Estaco, Jerry May, and Katharina Hazel. Also, for our question that we raised earlier on what you are passionate about and how you can volunteer, as promised, we will also be giving you a surprise gift. So the winner of our surprise gift is actually a little fun fact with Fair Building Network. It's actually we just turned 10th, our 10th year this year, and we are giving it to the 10th commentor who actually answered the question, and that is Jerry May also. Wow. Nakadalo si Jerry May. I am passionate about volunteering in youth and women's communities and enjoy interacting with them. Thank you for that comment, Jerry May. So, a little request lang for our winners. Please send us an email at info@fairbuilding.org with your full name, contact number, and full address. Again, please send us an email at info@fairbuilding.org with your full name, contact number, and full address, your home address, because we have a surprise gift for you. So now, let's proceed with the open forum. This is actually to give a chance for our participants in the room to raise questions such as how can they make a difference, or what are the challenges that they would probably be facing. And so yeah, if you have any questions, raise a hand and we will allow you to say your questions, or you can use the Q&A button in the Zoom room right below your screen. All right. Ayan, mayroong questions coming in. All right. All right. Am I audible for everyone? All right. Just having a technical difficulty at the moment. But are there any questions? All right, I guess for now, I have a question for our speakers. So, what skills and qualities ba yung essential for leaders in the nonprofit sector? Or ano yung mga kailangan essential skills nila para, to work maybe on a nonprofit sector?
I can start. Kasi yung mga babae yung nauna. Ako na naman for the Q&A.
Thanks,
Siguro-
Muli, for volunteering.
So personally kasi I know I have a number of of startups that I started na iba yung intention. So startups for profit. So and this non-profit undertaking na ginawa namin for Kids of Farm is a totally different lens, no. So sa tingin ko, you start off with a vision. So you chase the vision and not the money, kasi sa tingin ko yung vision will really take you to somewhere. Kung may maganda kang vision for your advocacy, you stick to that vision, do not compromise. And then, yun nga, all the other things naman, either you can learn, either you can get more people na kung hindi mo alam yung skill na yan, you can gather similar like-minded people to help you undertake the advocacy, because it's not a singular undertaking naman. And you can start off small. You don't have to really dream that super big. You can start small, learn from the experience, and then, yan, marami naman kaming mga trials when we started. Pero sa tingin ko, with the right vision, yun ang mag-fuel sa'yo na gawin mo yung, I mean, purpose mo, no, for doing the things that you do, and be intentional. Yung sabi ni Rainy kanina. Ayan. So that's it from my end.
All right. Sino sunod? Who will take the ball?
Di ako na lang. So, in terms of getting involved in NGO, no, iba-iba rin yung skills na kailangan. Depende rin kasi kung ano yung gusto mong klaseng trabaho. So, halimbawa, in our NGO, pwede kang maging project manager. So, essentially, ikaw yung leader, no, that leads the implementation. Pero if you're into writing, if you're good with fundraising, pwedeng dun ka sa what we call the project development naman. So you're the one doing the pitches, sending proposals. Pero kung mas back-end ka rin, gusto mo magaling ka sa logistics, pwede ka rin doon. So maraming ways, pwede ka rin finance. So yun yung mga essential technical skills. Pero there is also what we call yung other skills, no? Na I think crucial for NGOs. I wouldn't call them soft skills, but I think these are really the having the vision and the heart for service. It's not really technically a skill, but I think it can be learned also. It's a value more than anything. Because with the work that we do, no, it's important that you believe in it. While you are getting paid for it, the heart is actually a bit more important when you get into this space. Kasi syempre, you are working with sectors. Sometimes they are the most vulnerable and marginalized sector. Ito yung sinasabi ni Rainy na kanina. Kasi once you start listening and once you start empathizing, no, this is something that NGO workers bear too much in our hearts. So I think that's very distinct from the usual jobs. But that's what also makes it fulfilling. So you have to be ready for that also. But yeah, there is the practical technical skills that you might have, but you echoing also what Manir said, though, having that vision. But if you're not the visionary type, being a good follower to a visionary also works. So and yeah, more than that, I think it's the value, the really the genuine heart to serve, no, I think is very important when you try to get into this space. Yan.
Okay. I think, yeah. All right, again, may isang question dito from our participant. It's from Vincent Masecampo. How can I establish po that my youth organization qualifies as an NGO or an NPO? Anyone can answer.
Kung okay lang.
All
Well,
right. Sige.
thank you, Vincent, no, for wanting to establish yourself formally. There are several technical things behind it, no. So as with any other work, no, meron parang you're on the ground, but there's also much of the back end work. So I think the formal establishing it, you can look up PCNC, Philippine, ano yun? PC, Commission for Non-Profit Certification. You can look them up because parang they're the body that kind of legitimizes NGOs. But I'm sure there's a, you can start there, but you can also start in joining like networks such as Acted, like Mai. So Mai can ano. But it's always helpful. Ako personally, and in our experience, it's always helpful to connect with other NGOs and kind of compare notes. So parang wala namang manual na yun at yun lang. So I'm sure there are several ways. Go ahead, Mai.
Yeah, thanks, Rainy, no. Medyo broad pa yung question, Vincent, no. So marami kasing classifications din, no. But if the question is on if you gusto mo bang legally register na yung organization mo,
Right.
ang first question that you want to ask first is, are we ready for it, and how do we assess readiness? Kasi so what we call broadly, no, whether NGO ka, church, or whatever organization, we call them civil society organizations, who may be registered, who may also not be registered. So ano ba yung mga CSO? So normally nagsa-start kami when incubating CSOs. For example, what we try to do, we do what we call baseline assessment. Kung for example, in startups, no, you call this validating muna yung proof of concept. So kumbaga, ano yung gusto mong gawin. Kasi baka mamaya gusto mo lang mag-register pero marami kasing ine-entail sa pag-register, no? Ibig sabihin dapat maayos na yung pag-asikaso mo ng books. Pero yun yung way mo, for example, to formally receive donations. Yan. So, ready ka ba doon? So, yun yung muna. So, the first step, no, if starting tayo, so I don't know kasi anong level mo, is to try to do things first. You don't have to register agad. But you do things, you volunteer with your friends, with your group of people, you test out what you wanna do. If you find that there are actually more people volunteering, tapos may mga gusto nang mag-donate, ganyan, doon ka pwede ulit mag-assess. Tapos yun nga, sabi ni Rainy, one way is through the PCNC, later on is a certification. The other way is actually pwede ka mag-register sa SEC, pwede ka rin mag-register through your local barangay. So, marami, no? Pero I would usually advise, no? Usually itong registration part, it comes a few years later as mag-mature na yung organization. Kumbaga, it doesn't have to be formally registered first. If you think no, you are not yet ready for what it entails to be legally registered. So, even naman if hindi ka registered, no, pwede ka pa rin makapag-partner, pwede ka pa rin makipag-collaborate. So, yun nga, through our networks, through the different other CSOs. Yan, until such time na umabot yung point na, kunwari, million na yung gusto mag-donate sa'yo, ganyan. So, doon mo na pwede siguro i-assess na baka ready na tayo for registration kasi di na lang kami lahat volunteers, pwede kami talagang mag-dedicate ng tao. Kasi matrabaho rin talaga. I'm sure Rainy and Munir can attest to this, no? As a fully pledged NGO, it means that meron talagang magpo-full-time dun sa organization natin. So, but you can always start na not formally registered, but you are actually recognized as a CSO. Hopefully that clears up Vince's question. Maybe Marnia wants to add anything.
Yeah, nasabi naman lahat na yung sa legal and technical part. Pero yun nga, yung it's important to create what we call a critical mass. Kasi pagdating sa CSO, non-profit work, di ba we're here naman to it's not for ourselves, di ba? Parang we wanted to give more to the community. And nagkakaroon kasi ng traction sa startup community, traction ng tawag dyan eh. Parang marami kang gagawin muna bago ka para may traction ka. And it creates also the learning journey, yung mga activities na ginagawa nyo. Kasi hindi lang naman kailangan pera yan eh. Hindi naman, it's not all about money. A lot of the resources available really is the manpower, is the human resource. And you can mobilize that without really registering muna. No? So, and there's a lot of problems that you can tackle na hindi mo kailangan mag-legalize muna kasi maraming barriers din pag nasimulan mo ng maging legal organization. Kailangan mo na tayong trabahuin yung mga kailangan mong i-comply. But if you're passionate about starting something, you can always start small. Yun lang yung namin. Huwag mo munang problemahin yung bigger stuff ng mga ganyan. And you just gain traction. Yun ang kasi we're a non-profit startup as well. So we participate in Startup Challenge. Although ang difference lang sa profit and non-profit, kasi for profit, of course, income goes to the founders. So may partida yung mga founders. For non-profit, whatever you earn, whatever you generate goes back to the community. And tayo, we work mayroon namang konti, pero we mostly work for free. So, and yun nga, kailangan mong ma-differentiate yun, but you just do your activities on the ground, gain traction, get a really good social media footprint if you want to have the traction. Kaya you always do share, hindi naman pang clout yun, but you always share what you do in a manner that will inspire people. No? Yun yung na, at least from our end. Yan. Thank you.
Thank you for the 3 NGOs. Actually, also based on me communicating and conversing with other NGOs who are part of the FBN. Yes, resources, ang daming challenges in building up an NGO. A lot of things you have to consider, but yeah, it's really start small and kung ano ka passionate. So, due to time constraint, we'll be only catering another last question, and this is from Mika Antonio. So sabi niya is, what are the challenges that your NGOs or you personally have encountered when doing volunteer opportunities, and how do you handle such situations? So what ano na yung mga challenges na encounter niyo during your volunteerings and how were you able to cope with it? Or maybe yung mga volunteers within the organizations that you might be aware of. I guess we can start with Miss Rainy this time again.
Thank you po. Thank you. I also began as a volunteer. So I spent 10 months in Culion, Palawan, no, working with the Tagbanwa, also under Cartwheel. I think my main challenge then was yung unawain na, okay, meron kang gustong tumbukin o meron kang gustong mga issues na i-address, pero kailangan mo ng tao. So main part of the equation naman yun, 'di ba? Pero dahil tao at tao ang katrabaho mo, no, hindi siya laging aabante sa paraan na una mong plinano. Not to say not to make plans. Plans are completely okay, no? Pero parang talagang patience, persistence, pag-unawa sa the whole complexity of human dynamic, no. At a certain point, someone older than me had to remind me, Rainy, maybe a good mantra would be people over projects. Parang, sure, you want the projects to bear fruit and you want to say, oh, may success, but the relationship with the people that you work with is also a very important element. And I'm sure others would agree, no, na sometimes it's also the key towards really making it bear fruit. So hindi ka papasok doon na ikaw lang si superhero and then tara gawin natin to lahat, but it takes time. Even in the education space, no, people remind each other, no, with our discouraging PISA results and yung release ng EDCOM2 report, no, from how the education is in our country now, no, parang ang pinapaalalahanan natin sa isa't isa ay to endure. So it means to keep on, even if it means inching forward, but also building those relationships. Kasi at the end of the day, tayo ang makikipag-ugnayan. So that's a really difficult, for me, that was a really difficult lesson to learn, especially if you're very results oriented, and you will get there for sure, no, but pagpahalagahan rin yung relationships that go with it and the building of the trust, no? So as with all other huge organizations, it's very complicated, but it's better to get at things, not stepping on each other, but together, no, na kapit bisig, and it's a shared win, it's a shared victory for all once you arrive at your at the vision that Simonir was saying, or if you see the fruits of your shared work na bunga ng collaboration. Yun.
I can add.
Ay.
So with Acted, no, since most of our projects are actually institutionally funded, so we don't really have a lot of volunteers. With the 3-0 house, you're just starting to get volunteers also. So I can share my perspective from the other NGO that I started, where it's purely volunteer led. The main challenge really with volunteers, no, is since you are getting them as volunteers, you cannot expect them, as Rainy said, no, lalo na pag results oriented ka, you cannot expect them to work on the projects like first priority, because maybe they will have their full-time jobs, maybe they will have their class. So the challenge actually is the how do you manage, no, that they still get to do what you, for example, agreed to do when they agreed to volunteer. But I think what really works is, first is you manage your expectation if you're the one getting volunteers. Number 2 is actually to play to the strengths of your volunteers. So that's why every time, ang challenge kasi iba parang sa una na-excite, so sige, volunteer. Tapos pag biglang ito na yung mga kailangan nating gawin, biglang mawawala. So I think that's a typical challenge that we also learn from interviewing CSOs in the area here in Mandaluyong, no. Kasi yung iba students, pag exam na, wala na, nagtatago na lahat or wala na, wala nang sumisipot. So for you, no, if you are if you are the one leading the volunteers, the first step is to really first set the expectations clearly with your volunteer and yourself. And you play to the strengths of your volunteers. So what worked for the other NGO that I was mentioning, no, is really they volunteered because they wanted to really be part of something meaningful. But we agree, for example, on the hours that they can just dedicate, specific tasks that they can do. And we're able to celebrate, no, the milestones of being able to run a project na all volunteer led. But of course, at some point, if you see, ito kasi yung gaining traction part, no, you are able to do something for free at all, at no cost, and you're able to do it meaningfully. Maybe the next question is, can we now try to make value out of it so that we can at least compensate fairly our volunteers? Pwede kasi siya mag-evolve that way. If there's value pala, people want to be part of this, baka later on, we can evaluate. So, but usually ganun yung way, no, that we approach volunteers. You don't need a lot of volunteers, you just need a few dedicated ones if you're just starting. But you have to make sure that you set your expectations clearly, because again, if they're students, if they're also working, don't expect that you are their number one priority. Those are usually outliers, no? Or parang talagang, ano talaga sila, parang dedicated talaga sila. Kaya what I said, no, we really have to share more about the joy in the work that we do, so that we can invite in more people in this space. So yun, that's usually the challenge talaga, disappearing volunteers at some point. But you can, with the right parameters, you can manage them.
Thank you, Mai. And last but not least, Munir.
Yeah, tama lahat yung sinabi ni Rainy at ni Mai, no? Coming from the experience talaga. Kami naman, from our experience, kasi of course, when Kids to Farm started, ang mantra talaga ng founder namin is to make farming fun and easy. So, having been exposed to nonprofits din as my work, parang ayaw na namin i-complicate yung mga gagawin namin. Gawin namin siyang very straightforward. So that's why in volunteering, you always recognize, no, na every part of the team has its own time, its own interest, no? So yun, very basic yun. Nakilalanin mo yung mga kasama mo. And of course, their expertise. And may mga volunteers na hindi naman kailangan talagang full-time, no? May part of your time and so on. And that's why we have this particular tawag namin garden attack, kasi that's not full-time volunteering. Parang on a weekend, you have like 1 or 2 hours you dedicate. Pero kahit maiksing time, pag marami naman yung magbo-volunteer, malaki yung magagawa. And we have this another volunteer team na technical. So ito na yung mga core team. So yung sabi ni Mike kanina, kahit konti lang yan, pero very strong people yan. It will propel your group to greater heights, no, kumbaga. Kasi these technical people are also passionate people, and I'm happy na nakikita ko sila nandito sa ano, hindi yan sila inobliga. So in-invite lang sila to join. Pero these are the type of people, sa case namin where we do tech transfer, we share the skills. Parang ang tanong kasi, what's in it for them if they dedicate their time to this? So, ano yung makuha? Of course, alam naman natin they have the heart, pero tayo din na organizations, we should reward, no? Yung reward mechanism is very important for volunteers, yung celebrating small wins, and yung mga palibre, yung mga importante din yan eh. So it's either like mga merchandise, whatever na ano, and whenever you engage them, if may mga partners that can provide, diba, support, either it's finance, it's logistic and all, you give it to them. So para naman ma-inspire din sila. So it's a two-way process naman yung volunteering, and we always believe in the power of the people to really volunteer, kasi kami personally nakita namin yun, no, na if you just provide the right platform, the right mechanism na mag-participate yung mga tao, hindi sila ma-stress, kasi kaya nagbo-volunteer siya, ayaw nila ma-stress. Basta masaya lang, and you manage as a manager also. Kung may mga leaders dito, mga founders, of course you need to manage. That's part of the skill na kailangan mong i-develop over time. You manage how you do the volunteering program, very organized in a way, pero hindi siya stressful. So I guess from our end, ganun lang naman. Parang, I mean, of course, there's a lot of problem, no? Pero ang gusto lang natin is that we wanted to keep more people as much as we can. We can inspire more people as much as we can. So that's why we also do our share in rewarding the efforts that they do for the organization as much as we can, whatever resources that we have. Ayan, so thank you.
Thank you, Munir. Thank you, Mai. Thank you, Rainy. Sorry, but I have to cut this one short because given our time. But actually, there are still other questions here. But rest assured for our participants, we will email you yung mga sagot ni na Mai, ni na Rainy, and ni na Munir. So, bibigyan natin sila ng assignment to answer all those questions. And I share it to you guys as well after the session. So, but actually, we thank you all for your questions and inquiries. We love to hear insights from our participants and also from our speakers, diba? And I hope through all those questions and of course this forum, it can stir up and ignite that awareness, that sense of bayanihan, that awareness and volunteering for each and every one of us. Now, we can do something even in our small ways. So again, thank you again so much for our speakers today. It's really refreshing to know that there are organizations and event partners who really will go the extra mile, diba? Both literally and metaphorically, just to help improve the lives of our Filipino communities and people. So thank you again as well to our guests and attendees who spent their Thursday morning with us from 10 a.m. up until now, magta-12 na, so it's gonna be lunchtime anytime soon. And I hope that you found this activity very, very meaningful from Fair Building Network. And I hope you also learned a lot today, and it will transcend in our daily activities by helping spreading awareness, supporting advocacies discussed this morning. So with that, we will now be closing the webinar entitled Foundation of Advocacies, an Introduction to Non-for-Profit Organizations and Their Roles in the Society. But do not forget to follow Acted Philippines, Cartwheel Foundation, and Kids Who Farms official social media accounts. Na-mention na rin nila kanina yun during their speeches, and of course follow us also in Fair Building Network through our Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Look forward to our emails with all the details from from all these organizations, and see you on the next one. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you again. At before pala, I almost forgot. Almost forgot. I hope we can have a photo op with all the participants. So I hope you can open your cameras for a while. Kahit mga 10 seconds lang. We can open your cameras and we can have a photo before we leave the room. Alright, I will remove first the spotlights para hindi ang nasa spotlight ay nasa atin ang lahat. Alright. Ayan. Alright. For those, baka yung iba nahihiya pa. Alright. Open your cameras. Alright. 1, 2, 3, smile. Alright, one more everyone. 1, 2, 3. Wait lang. Sabi ng tech natin, wait lang. 1, 2, 3, smile. Alright, thank you so much, everyone. And again, happy lunch, and I hope you learned a lot from Foundation of Advocacies by Fair Building Network. Thank you and have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Salamat.
Thank you po.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.